Staying with development on the Okama killing, as military authorities have released pictures of 8 persons wanted in connection with the killing of its personnel in Delta State. As you saw in that earlier report, the remains of the 17 military personnel were laid to rest with full military honors at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja on Wednesday, where the Chief of Defense Staff had reaffirmed the resolve of the armed forces to bring to book those behind the killing. Those wanted are Okewu Omotegbono, Okene Otho, Andawe Bakiri, Ogoli Ebi, Akata David, and Sinclair Oliki. Others are Clement Ogenerukewe, Ruben Baru.
We all have a collective responsibility of doing right. That said, a banner for the wanted persons involved in the killing of the 17 soldiers that were buried yesterday is hereby released to the press. And we encourage citizens, particularly those in Delta State, to assist in the investigation by flushing these persons out. What we do in a situation where there is tension is to de-escalate it. And where it has gone out of hand, we contain it to make sure it doesn't spread. So what has happened in Delta must never repeat itself. And it is for that reason that we have put out this banner of 8 persons, including a woman, as wanted persons.
The All Progressives Congress has inaugurated 6-7 governors as zonal coordinator. They were inaugurated by the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, at the party's national secretariat in Abuja. Our correspondent, Habida Lawal, reports.
His help will be available for us.
Zonal coordinators and a think tank committee can contribute significantly to a political party's effectiveness, both in terms of organizational structure and policy formulation. They ensure that the party remains connected to its base while also staying ahead in terms of policy innovation and strategic planning. For the APC, the governors are expected to initiate a periodic interface with the party's leadership.
And you cannot do that through trial and error. You must have the records. You must have the data so that you can target using technology. You can make your campaign easy. You can even project your success state by state, considering the parameters of politics, the eventualities of politics in particular geopolitical zone. All this cannot be done off-head. We educate our members on the guidelines and regulations of political parties.
Responding on behalf of the coordinators, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says it is important for party loyalists to feel the impact of the administration and the party they worked hard to build.
We are not going to mobilize our people only to participate in party activities, because I am aware that the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria belongs to the party. Our members should also populate the government, and our members should also participate actively in the affairs, implementations of the various policies of the government.
Hope Uzodinma of Imo State is the coordinator for the Southeast. Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State is the coordinator for the North Central. Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State is the coordinator for Northeast. Also named is Governor Ubasani of Kaduna State as the Northwest coordinator, while Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State will serve as Southwest coordinator, and Governor Basi Otu of Cross River State as the South-South coordinator. This committee is one of its kind in the APC, where the appointed governors will serve as a point of call between the party's leadership and its members in different geopolitical zones. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, Satesu Kula, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State. Tonight, we shall be discussing Governor Alia and his role in the lingering APC Benue chapter crisis. Please stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Our focus is still on Benue State and internal wrangling within the state chapter of the APC. Last night, we heard from Comrade Dominic Alanja, who had a lot to say about his understanding of the situation in the state. But for us to have a balanced conversation, we must hear from the other side because, it looks really messy at the moment. In all of this, Governor Hyacinth Alia has denied calling for the resignation of the APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje. Tonight, let's hear from the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Satesu Kula, who joins me from our Abuja studio. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening.
Right, so let's kick off from where this conversation stopped last night before we talk about the development of the state. From my conversation with Comrade Alanja, it looks like there is a distinct factionalization in the party. My first question to you is, why is Governor Alia at loggerheads with the Secretary to the government of the Federation, whom your party members say contributed a lot to the emergence of Reverend Father Alia as governor today?
Yeah, I thank you so much for that wonderful question. I love it. I love it because you have gone straight to hit the mark, and you know exactly where the problem of Benue State is coming from, and you know exactly who is after the Reverend Gentleman, the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia. The problem of Benue State and the current crisis as they affect the development of the state is never new, and it's not a new thing. It's so unfortunate that since 1999, when democracy finally resurged back to the country, we have been having this kind of thing in Benue, and it has become more of a custom. It's as if it has been institutionalized. In 1999, George Okume, the current SGF, was the governor. We experienced this kind of crisis. Susam took over from him. We experienced the same crisis. Tom took over from Susam. We experienced the same crisis. And today, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has taken over. And of course, as you rightly said, he is facing a similar crisis. The only difference is that his has come very early in the life of his administration. But then, like I said, those who are keen followers of political development in the state, in Benue State, we agree with me that these crises are there not because the governor is not performing. But remember, Governor Hyacinth Alia left priesthood to come and better the lives of the people and turn around the fortunes of the state for better. And so when he came in, he hit the ground running with a bang. First of all, he saw how the civil service was in shambles. The morale of civil servants was dampened to a fault. Pensioners were dying on a daily basis. And then the infrastructure of the state was in quagmire. The dilapidation was unprecedented. Where is it going to start? First of all, who are the drivers of the polity? Who are the drivers of development? The civil servants. And so what did he do? First of all, he brought reforms into the civil service. The reforms have already started yielding fruits. And that is why today in Benue State, Fadalia is referred widely as Mr. 25th. First of all, people, and then the second thing is people must be alive for them to support a government for development. Senior civil servants, those who retired, and they will call them retirees, that were abandoned for over 67 months. He decided to bring reforms in the pension sector. And today, pensioners are paid the same day. Current civil servants, working civil servants are being paid. And pensioners, once you retire from service, it takes barely 4 months before you receive your entitlements. Because everything about records and capturing is done as you are in the civil service. And so today you go to Benue and you see people are praying that my days should come, let me retire during this earlier time so that I will be paid. It did not stop at that. What is Benue known for? Food production. And that is why we have the appellation, which is called food basket coordination. Earlier ordered for 100 trucks
hold on.
of fertilizer. And he subsidized.
Kindly hold on, Mr. Kula. You're talking about payment of salaries, you're talking about development of the state. Are these the reasons the SGF and the governor are at loggerheads?
Oh yes, I want to tell you, you see, that the problem in Benue State right now is that some people have come together and they should be referred as the gods of Benue. They don't want anybody's name to mention for good reasons. That is why I started reading out the developments Fadalia has brought to Benue, that he cured the raft of these people who preferred to be called gods and are taking the position of God. It's because he has refused to toe the line they wanted him to toe. Because if he's doing that, all these developmental strides that I've mentioned here wouldn't have been there. You could imagine that within 3 months, a governor came into power and the IGR of the state moved from 250 or 400 million, as they used to call it, to 1.2 billion. What is responsible for this? It is because at a point, some people in the state took some very sensitive agencies and even some local governments and preferred to be named their okra. The revenues brought from these areas are shared with these stakeholders that don't want development to go on in the state. And everything, the roads and everything is constructed convincingly in their stomach. And so they have no issues. They are not bothered what happened to the state, the entire of the other population. And so any governor that comes, if you are not performing, they are there to praise you and also do what? Defend you everywhere. So but once you are performing, then you become an enemy. That is where Fadalia has got it wrong according to them.
So if I get you clearly, this is practically a case of the governor rejecting to be lauded over from Abuja. Is that it?
He's getting what?
From your explanation, what I got is that this is a case of the governor rejecting to be lauded over from Abuja. But there have been several allegations concerning the governor, and I'm happy you're here to help us shed more light on this. How true is it that the governor does not consult with those who were holding the structure or built the structure before he joined about 2 years ago? I mean, they say the governor made some appointments without consulting the party stakeholders in the state. One of the examples they gave is that the governor sacked LG chairman, appointed a caretaker committee. Is it true that the governor does not carry the stakeholders along?
That's a mere pretext. That is what is called giving the dog a bad name in order to hang it. I will tell you and I give you some example. First of all, something suspicious happened. And I want you to get to the root of this. Something suspicious happened. And if you were the governor, I think you will not do different from what my boss did. People were elected into the House of Assembly. Fadalia, as the governor, was supposed to be consulted if any other person should be chosen or appointed or blessed to become a speaker. He was not consulted. Nobody consulted him. Rather, what he got to know or he heard from those who are elected was that they were called somewhere and told that this is the speaker. Somebody was introduced to them as a speaker. That was so strange. Yet, the governor did not make noise from that. He kept quiet and waited patiently for anybody to introduce someone to him as a candidate or anointed one. Nothing of such happened. And so in that situation, the governor is at liberty to anoint or support anybody of his choice. Or maybe allow the assembly people to do their wish. And that was exactly what happened. When he allowed the people to do their wish, it became an issue. Now, back to the issue of consulting, I just gave you an example. Who consulted him before they anointed somebody that had been complaining that was not made speaker? Yet, the governor, because we know that because of his human nature, he is often undermined. When he was to appoint commissioners, 15 names were given to the governor to appoint commissioners from these 15 names. The governor tried as much as possible, and I can tell you 5 people from the 15 names were appointed commissioners. Yet, those who sent the list were not happy. They wanted him to take everything hook, line, and sinker. He consulted them, and that was why they sent the list. Number 2, when he wanted to appoint caretaker committee chairmen across the local government, the governor called for a stakeholders meeting. Everybody who belonged to that political party, the APC, was called to Benue. Our dear father, the SGF, was there in representative capacity. And things were discussed in the open. His Excellency directed that every local government should go and bring names for him to select from, who becomes the governor and who makes the caretaker committee. That was exactly what transpired. People brought names, but this was still not satisfactory to some of these people, because they believe that people should not be asked to go and discuss this name before they bring them. Because some people are used to the tradition that anytime there is going to be a thing of that nature, they are called individually and asked to bless or bring lists of the people they want to be made chairman, so they will be reporting back to them. This time, it was collective. And so they are angry because it wouldn't have been collective. It would have been individual. That is the issue. Nobody. I tell you, among the people who are complaining, one of them, as we speak, one of them brought his own daughter to be made a member, a secretary of the local government. And that lady is a secretary of the local government up to this point. So if they are saying that they are not consulted, I begin to wonder. First, commissionership, they send 15 names. If you are not consulted, how do you send 15 names? Then local government caretaker committee, they sent names. A stakeholders meeting was convened, and they were all there. They were asked to go back, consult with your people, and bring a list. So how else do you want His Excellency to consult? To go to everybody's bedroom and then begin to consult with him or her there? I don't think they are fair to him.
All right.
In that regard.
From your conversation and what Comrade Alancha said yesterday, this is clearly a battle for the supremacy of the state party structure. But I mean, conventionally, or perhaps an unwritten law, the governor is the leader of the state. But I remember on the inauguration, Governor Alia referred to Senator George Akume as his leader and leader of the state. So the question is, what changed? There are those who are saying the governor feels threatened that the political structure of the state is slipping out of his control.
You see, people often get these things wrong. It has been the convention, even if it is not clearly stated in the constitution of the party, the governor is the leader of the party. It's not starting in Benue. In any case, in the case of Benue State, the national Working Committee of the state sent a delegation to Benue when this crisis started. They went there and officially announced and conferred onto the governor the position of the leader of the state, of the party in the state. This is what brought the issue of trying to undermine His Excellency. You have a chairman of a party who felt that his overall boss, somebody who he should take instruction from him, is not the governor. And so he went to a point that, at a point, he undermined the governor to a point. Okay, for instance, there is this body recognized in the Constitution that is called the State Executive Committee. It's different from the State Working Committee. Just like you have the National Working Committee, and you still have the National Executive Committee, chaired by the President of the country, who is the leader of the party. Meetings of the National Executive Committee are held in the seat of power, and the President presides over these meetings. In the case of Benue, the chairman was there. He will call a meeting and refer to that meeting as State Executive Committee meeting, and the governor will not be aware. And then the meeting will be held outside Government House. It will be held in the party secretariat. One of these meetings was on the 11th of January, when he summoned State Executive Committee meeting that is supposed to be called only by the governor, who is the leader of the party, and presided by Sen. Austin Egada called this meeting, and it was in the secretariat. His Excellency was not aware. In that meeting, the plan was to go and suspend the SSG and the advisor to the governor on local government and chieftaincy affairs. The governor only got wind that a meeting of that nature was happening in the secretariat. The governor drove to the secretariat and made the chairman presiding over a meeting that the governor would have presided upon. What did the governor do? He went inside, sat down, and the chairman couldn't have the remorse. He had the temerity to go ahead and conduct the meeting. The governor sat there. Which governor do you think would do that in this country? He sat there and he listened to him until the meeting finished. And so, when you have a chairman who is up to undermine you to that level, how are you going to do? What are you going to do? We have precedents. When His Excellency, the SGF, was the governor in Benue State, when he came in, somebody else, Mike Idoma, was the chairman of PDP at that time. When he came, he said he was not comfortable with Mike Idoma. Remember, at the time he became governor, Gimade, who was the godfather of politics in Benue at that time, was the national chairman. With all recourse to Gimade, he removed the chairman. He also removed the secretary. That was how he brought Samuel Otom, who was just coming from APP at that time. And he made Otom secretary. Gimade did not die. Gimade did not do anything. Though Gimade was the overall boss here, because he was the national chairman of that political party that George Akume won governor. And so it came, it has been happening. How about the case in Kano State, where you have the current chairman who took over from Shakaru? So we have this precedence. When you have a chairman of a party that you are the leader and the chairman cannot work with you, do you have the capacity, you have the right to do away with that chairman? But in this case, you have a chairman who has contravened the constitution of the party, indulged in anti-party activities, and is suspended by his own council ward. That suspension was ratified by the State Executive Committee. And so what do you have? That chairman has to go.
All right, so we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that because that's a very serious issue that I would like to take up with you. You sent out a press conference, a press statement rather, saying the governor is not participating in any meeting to discuss the removal or resignation of Alhaji Ganduje. Is it true that the governor is planning to leave the party? I'd like you to address that and also address the rumor that
No. At no point, no point. His Excellency is very, very comfortable in APC. His Excellency is very, very comfortable as the leader of APC in Benue State. His Excellency, Governor Alia, is very, very comfortable and is in firm control of APC in Benue. He's appreciative of the structure that brought him into power, that drove him into power, and that is the APC. And so that is not under discourse. He's not thinking towards that. As his spokesperson, I can authoritatively tell you that His Excellency is not thinking or moving an inch out of APC. I also wish to let you know that it has actually become a strategy by the haters of development from Benue State, who are bound to give His Excellency a bad name in order to hang him. And so you can see that day in, day out, today, tomorrow, and next, they continue hiring people who are ready tools to help them propagate falsehood and fabricate stories against His Excellency and try to downplay his achievements, that he has recorded, tremendous achievements he has recorded within a very short time in office. And so His Excellency did not discuss or even send a representative anywhere to discuss anything pertaining to the resignation or removal of the current chairman of the biggest party in Africa, that is the APC, Alhaji Umar Ganduje. No.
All right. So let's come back to the suspension of the state chairman, Austin Agada. Some APC members say this is illegal. What executives say they were lured to the government house, offered money to accept the suspension of the chairman. You've tried to explain what happened, but in proper perspective, what really happened?
You see, after the elections, the APC won overwhelmingly the seats of the National Assembly and only lost one Senate to PDP and a House of Reps to Labour Party. Few months into the administration, facts emerged, as could be seen in the evidence presented by Comrade Dan Onje, that the chairman of the party in the state, Comrade Austin Agada, actually perpetrated what is called anti-party activities, which is a very huge sin against the party. Comrade Onje wrote a petition, attached the evidence, and sent to the National Secretariat. Copied the word, the state, and the local government where the state chairman hailed from. That's Iheji Ward and Obadibo local government. Why the National Secretariat kept quiet? The people of Iheji, because they are the most heated. The senator was supposed to be close to them. When they discovered, actually, one of them sold out in a manner that they now have to do without a senator in the party, they got icked. And what did they do? They converged, called him, he refused to go there. They passed a suspension against him. And according to the laid down procedure, they copied the local government, which is Obadibo local government. The local government upheld this suspension. The next step was to copy the state executive council of the party, the state working committee. But the state working committee is headed by this same man that was being accused. So what next? That decision was then copied the state executive committee, headed by the governor. Now there was a vacuum. A vacuum in the sense that if Agada was suspended, the next person who would have acted would have been the state deputy chairman. But at the time Agada was suspended, there was no state deputy chairman, because the state deputy chairman got an appointment with the Northeast Development Commission. And so that void was yet to be filled. And so the vacuum became imminent. And the state executive committee, headed by the governor, had to step in to fill that vacuum. That was what brought up Omakuru Benjamin as the acting chairman of the party, following the appeal and request from the people of Zone C, where Agada hails from. They knew that without the appeal, that position may be given to another person to act. And so they came together and unanimously submitted the name of Omakuru, who before then was a member of the State Working Committee, to act in that capacity. That was what brought Omakuru into power as acting chairman. Thank you.
All right. Now, you've alleged that one of the reasons, or the major reason for the suspension of Austin Agada, was that he engaged in anti-party activities. First, let me ask, is it against the party or against the candidature of Daniel Onje?
The suspect? No, see, Daniel Onje was flying the ticket of the party in that election.
Okay.
And that is why he did not go to court, but he went to the secretariat of the National Secretariat of the party to complain. So a sin against Onje as the candidate of the party is a sin against the party.
All right, I get that. But Daniel Onje continues to say he has impeccable evidences to show that there was indeed, or Comrade Austin Agada actually engaged in anti-party activities, but these evidences have not surfaced. Now, let's talk about Omakolo. Article 31(5) of the APC Constitution, paragraph 2, says, in the event of vacancy, meaning suspended or dead. Now, in the state of state officer, the local government area council executive committee shall propose a replacement to the local government area council congress for endorsement. Thereafter, the name shall be sent to the state executive committee for approval. The names then shall be forwarded to the National Working Committee. Now, in the appointment of Omakolo, was due process followed?
Yes, I just told you due process was followed. I just told you. You see, in Article 13, H4 of the APC Constitution 2022 as amended is very clear. Who has the powers to fill a vacuum if it is created? Who has the powers to do that? Is the State Executive Committee. Just like at the center here, you have the National Executive Committee headed by the President. When in our party, Comrade Adams Oshomole was shoved out, what happened? The State Executive Committee, headed by the President himself then, Buhari, sat together and brought up Madam Bumi, the governor, to act in that capacity. When there were issues or instability in the state, in the party at the national level, what happened? The next team met, and what did they do? They brought in the current chairman, Alhaji Umar Ganduje, to be the national chairman. And so Article 25(2)(5) of the party is very clear that whatsoever is the status of the NEC at the federal level is the same authority or the same function that State Executive Committee has at the state level. So when issues happen at the state level, they take the same functions of the NEC at the center. And who presides over the NEC? It is the president. Now at the state, who is supposed to preside? It is the governor. And so it was the SEC presided by the governor that brought in Omakuru. So he acted within the constitution, the powers conferred onto him as the leader of the party and the chairman of SEC to take such critical decision at a critical time.
All right, Sakula, let's be clear. You said you followed due process because in this constitution that I'm looking at, it means Omakolo's name has to get to the National Working Committee. The National Working Committee of your party has to endorse him. So if indeed that happened, why is the national leadership of the APC insisting that Austin Agada is the chairman?
No, I don't think you got it right. I don't see anywhere they have insisted that he is the chairman, and I don't think they will do that. What I saw was a misinformation, a complete misinformation that was sent in a letter addressed to His Excellency and also addressed to Agada. First of all, they said cases should be withdrawn. Who took who to court? Who took who to court? It was Austin Agada, the suspended chairman, that took the party. He took the party to court and took the leader of the party, His Excellency, to court. And not His Excellency or the party taking him to court. And so it was as good as telling him that you go and withdraw the case you instituted against the party. Because His Excellency did not institute any case against Austin Agada, neither did the party do the same. And so I don't see anywhere that you say they are insisting that Austin Agada is the chairman of the party. They have never said that, at least in the letters I've seen.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will continue this conversation. This is Politics Tonight, everyone. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Thank you so much for staying with us on Politics Tonight. This evening, we're discussing Benue APC Lane Green crisis, and I've been speaking with the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State, Sir Tesu Kula. Sir Kula, thank you so much for joining us, for staying with us, rather, on the program. Before we move on to matters of development of Benue State, the National Working Committee of your party has resolved that all ongoing cases filed in the name of the party or associated with matters concerning the party and involving party members must be discontinued and withdrawn from the court within the next 7 days. Will the governor adhere to this?
Sorry, can I get you again, please?
Did you get my question? The National Working Committee of your party has resolved that all ongoing cases filed in the name of the party or associated with matters concerning the party must be discontinued and withdrawn from the court within the next 7 days. So I'm asking, will the governor adhere to this?
One, I don't know why you make reference to the governor, because I told you earlier that the governor did not take anybody to court. He did not take anybody to court. I think you have that. Now, number two, I don't know whether the National Working Committee of the party has such authority as to act in the manner they have acted. Because a case taken to court is beyond the party. Maybe, just maybe, somebody seek every available opportunity to get justice within the party, and he failed to get same, and is resorting to court. I give you an example. When Agada was suspended by the HG, his own council ward, they sent the report to the local government. The local government had issues with the party chairman Agada at that time. They called him, according to the reports. Severally, he refused to attend to them. They ratified the suspension. They sent the suspension across to the National Secretariat and also sent same to to the leader of the party, who is the head of State Executive Committee of the party. When they could not get any response from the National Secretariat, 5 days after, they had no option but to go to court. That, remember, it is the ward, Iheji ward, where Comrade Agada hails from. They went to court to get an injunction, which they got. And Agada stands suspended. It was based on that injunction they got from the court that the governor now acted as the leader of the party and as the chairman of SEC by appointing Omakuru. I said this earlier. And so it is the people of Iheji that are in court against Austin Agada and against the party, that the party should give reasons why Agada should not be suspended or why they delayed ratifying the suspension of Agada at that level. And as far as that case is concerned, by the case by Iheji people is concerned, Agada is no longer the chairman of the party in Benue State. Because no court or competent jurisdiction has come out to say that they have nullified the suspension of Agada that was ratified by the local government, by his local government. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
I do not think so. But I mean, when they say when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. And you have also said the biggest challenge here is that this is a huge distraction to the governor. So is there any real efforts to end this crisis?
The governor, I must tell you, is not distracted. Of course, because for over time now, discussions concerning this crisis has taken over the media space. And that is the intention of these traducers, those who don't want anything good to come from Benue. They want everybody to discuss crisis and forget about what Fadalia is doing. But I must tell you, in the face of all this, the Reverend gentleman is consistently delivering on the promises he made to the people. If you go to Benue today, the Benue State University Teaching Hospital that was hitherto almost going moribund and could only generate out to 20 million has been revamped and activities are at full swing. That hospital is now generating over 100 million every month. There was a hospital built by the Buhari administration and handed over to Benue. 3 months after that hospital was handed over to Benue, that hospital is called General Buhari's Mother and Child Hospital. No single delivery was recorded at that hospital for over 3 months after it was handed over to Benue State government. At a point, the Federal Medical Center came asking that the hospital should be handed over back to them. But when Fadalia took over governance, if you go there today, because he has declared free antenatal care for pregnant women, if you go there today, on a monthly basis, the list of delivery is 75 deliveries in that hospital. The hospital is generating revenue, and I must tell you, he has also subsidized that, and a delivery is as cheap as 25,000 naira. If you go to that hospital now, you see it as like a marketplace. People troop in and out to seek Medicare. And so things are happening everywhere. If you go to Benue State now, every street, almost every street in Makudi Metropolis is light up. And things are happening. So Afaralia is not even distracted. He has continued taking care of pensioners. He has continued delivering on infrastructure. He has continued supplying water to the people. Fadalia is doing everything, and up to this point, the IGR has not dropped. Rather, it's going up. He has continued to do this. And so he's not distracted. They will make noise. They will make noise and try to distract him, but when they come back, the development is still there. And the people of Benue State are hailing him on a daily basis. And that is exactly what the people wanted.
All right. Let's talk about insecurity. I mean, this remains the biggest challenge in Benue State. About 2 days ago, the governor confirmed that 8 local government areas in Benue State are on the front line of insecurity at the moment. What is the governor doing to secure Benue State?
Yes, His Excellency actually inherited this issue of insecurity. And as you may be aware, very many people were in IDPs. There was no farm work done anywhere. And during his campaign, he made a promise that his own agenda, the first thing on his agenda, is to ensure that the people go back to their homes and they continue in their farming activities. And so when he took over, he put every machinery in place, and things started happening. Our people started going back to farm. Some even started constructing homes where they will go back, because he engaged some stakeholders involved in this crisis. Because first of all, he called for meeting of pastoralists, the people you call herders, and their leaders came over. A discussion was put on the table. Resolutions were reached, and people started going back to their homes. That report got to Mr. President, and that is why the president sent, survey was done, and homes were being constructed. Homes were, as you speak, homes are under construction for these people to go back, because they cannot go back and be staying outside. They should have places where they can live. They should have shelter. And so this process was on. But at a point, just like I told you, there are some people who don't want any good thing to come from Benue. At a point, people we believe should know better started coming over the TV to say that Reverend Father Alia has called herders to go back to Benue. The herders are in Benue grazing freely, and showing people a letter purportedly written from by the governor to come back to the state. An investigation was carried on, and we discovered that actually some people faked this letter and sent to people, to these herders to come in. Father Alia himself said this, because people send this people, they know that when these people come in, they will distract everybody. They will distract development. They will cause insecurity. And so people who are enemies of the state are fighting on all fronts. That is what has happened. However, he's not resting on... Yes, I'm with you.
Right. Please kindly land in 30 seconds.
But...
Out of time.
Hello?
All right. I must say a very big thank you to you for coming on the program. And I really hope that for the interest, or rather in the interest of the people of Benue State, both parties find an end to this political crisis. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I've been speaking to the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State, Tesukula. Thank you for joining us. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Here's what a good hair day looks like and feels like with the new Lush Hair Care range. made with a cocktail of nature's finest oils. With hibiscus oil for hair growth, rooibos oil to eliminate frizz, amla oil to prevent hair breakage, to give your hair life and bounce. So go ahead and be confident.
Stunning, flawless, beautiful.
You deserve the soft life. So does your hair. Lush hair. Be beautiful.
We are live in the open market for Epic 10X Challenge. My people, today I will show you how the power of new Epic 10X gives your toilet a better cleaning than bleach.
Than bleach?
Yes, so.